Welcome to Quote and Conquer, the podcast where powerful words meet powerful action. Let's conquer one quote at a time. The difference between those that succeed and those that don't succeed lies in the difference of their habits. Hey everyone, it's Joey Walters, and I'm the host of Quote and Conquer. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast where powerful words meet powerful action. You see, I'm a creature of habit. You're a creature of habit. We are creatures of habit. Let that sink in. Every decision we make, every result we see, whether we win or lose or fail, are all tied to habits. And the difference between those that succeed and get to the level that they want and those that don't get to the level they want has nothing to do with hard work, nothing to do with talent or luck, has everything to do with the habits that they do on a repeated basis, especially when no one is watching. You see, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the levels of our systems. And those systems are built on habits. And that is one of the most important life truths. We are creatures of habit, and we either have good habits or bad habits. There is no middle ground. So if you want to break from the chains of your past and create the future you really want, you don't need more motivation. You don't have to succumb to the hustle culture. You need better habits on a consistent basis. And today, we're going to dive into a quote that's going to talk about this. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This week's quote, and it comes from the legend of habits himself, James Clear. And it's this: time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally, and bad habits make time your enemy. The first time I read this, and then I went back and reread it, it stopped me in my tracks. Because here's the raw truth: time doesn't care what you want, it multiplies what you do. If you feed it consistent good habits, it'll take care of you. If you feed it consistent bad habits, you're going to create chaos. So whether you have high standards or you try to take the ill-chosen route, the shortcut that never works out, either you have discipline or you have distraction, time will multiply whatever habits you have, or it will become your enemy. So with that, let's get in and let's talk a little bit about James Clear. If you don't know, maybe you've been living underneath a rock, but he wrote a book called Atomic Habits, and he studied top performers around the world. And one thing was clear to him: that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And the biggest component of those systems are your habits. Why? As I mentioned before, we are creatures of habit. And let's be brutally honest. I'm a creature of habit. We're creatures of habit. We're all creatures of habit. We wake up and run programs. Most of the time, we're not even realizing what we're doing because our subconscious mind and our habits and our daily routines take over. And, I was struggling for a long time with anxiety, overthinking, shame, guilt, overeating, distraction, and I was broken. And I was feeding this to myself every single day. And I did not know how to get out of the spin cycle because I didn't really realize back then, because I wasn't conscious to it, is that the only way to replace a bad habit is to replace it with a good habit. So I had to take a step back as I did a lot of deep work on myself to figure out why I was making these bad habits and what I could do to change this. And so what I did, one of the things was I rewired my habits around breaking my days down into 4 mini days. And I stopped trying to control time, and I stopped trying to, do everything all at once, and I broke it down. And one thing I did was intentionally block time across 24 hours, and I made what I call my JW power list. And it was all related to the things that I wanted in my life, the vision that I had for my life around faith, family and friends, fitness, finance, and fun. And then I would take stock of this and basically build a structure of what I was doing every single day around the vision as it related to those 5 F's, as I call them. And I would do things in the morning as it related to that. I would do things in my midday, in my afternoon, and my evening. And part of those habits could have been spending time with my family, my kids. It would have been, working out. It could be listening to a podcast, reading a book, making that phone call, doing something to learn for my business, for my career. I religiously got really, really deep on the habits and the power list that I needed to do on a daily basis in order to, achieve what I want. Because, as Robin Sharma says, our life are days in miniature. And so for me, I took stock of that. And then what I did was, as I started to build some consistency around these good habits, because I've figured out, the only way to replace a bad habit of not eating good is to start eating the proper single ingredient foods. Or the only way for me to stop binge eating and overeating at night to make myself feel good was to stop doing that. The only way for me to, get stronger was to consistently lift weights and lift heavy weights over a period of time. And when I wasn't achieving everything that I wanted, what I did was I used the law of subtraction, and I would write down, what did I do today that, aligned with my vision around my 5 F's: my faith, my family, my friends, my fitness, my finance, and my fun. And when I wasn't doing the right things, I would figure out that I had to subtract something and subtract the bad habit. And what was I going to replace it? What good habit could I do to replace it? And how could I raise the standard of my life? And so this is what I have done over a consistent basis to get me to the point where I am now. And, I'm at a point now where, yes, I fight it every day from time to time. I struggle. We all do. It's part of life's work. But instead of me feeling that I need to struggle, I'm at peace to say, okay, I didn't do the right habit in this situation today. And so what am I going to do tomorrow to replace it? And, forgive myself so I don't have shame and guilt. And how do I raise my standard to be the person that I want to be and act who I want to act like to achieve the vision that I have in my life? Hi, everyone. Quick interruption from the episode. If this is speaking to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification because you don't want to miss out. And share it with someone who may need it. The link is in the episode notes. It only takes a moment and it can change someone's life. I believe in divine timing, and that can put the right message in front of the right person at the right time to make a huge difference. So let's make this happen together. And without further ado, let's get right back in the episode. So now I want to get into 5 steps that will help you build better habits to allow you to make time your ally and for you to achieve everything that you want so you can break from the chains of your past to create the future that you truly want and deserve. So let's get practical. So step number 1, you have to accept that you're a creature of habit. You're running on old software. So you either have good habits or bad habits. Stop blaming that you need more motivation. You need to upgrade your system. The only way to upgrade your system is to have better habits. And the only way to do that is to do them on a consistent basis. And the only way to replace a bad habit is to replace it with a good habit. So that's number 1. Number 2, then, you have to get really clear and align the habits that you want that will match the 5 F's. The 5 F's, again, are faith, family and friends, finances, fitness, and fun. Okay? And part of finances is your career. Okay? So you got to take stock of the person that you want to be. How does that person act? What are the habits that they have? And how do they serve for you to achieve that? And so once you write that down, you will start to create the identity that you want that will align with the consistent habits that you have on a daily basis to break from the chains of your past, to create the future that you want, and make time your ally. Step number 3, One thing that worked for me, and I suggest this for you, is to break your days down into 4 mini days. And for you to win the day, have 2, possibly 3 in each time slot of a power list of things that you need to do to reinforce the habits that you need to have that will build momentum for you, so that way you can do it on a consistent basis. So you can start stacking wins and stacking great habits over a consistent basis. And when doing this, don't run right to the end goal, like, i.e., I want to do 100 push-ups, so tomorrow you're going to do 100 push-ups. No. One of the things that James Clear has in his book is, take slow, steady pace and progress over a period of time. So if you want to do 100 push-ups, I would say, let me try to do 100 push-ups in a day, and let's do it over a 6-week period. And let's start with 10 today. And then, in 3 days' time, let's get to 12 and slowly build it up over a period of time, where in 3 weeks, you're doing 50 push-ups. And then 4 weeks, you're doing like 80 push-ups. And then by the 6th week, you're doing 100 push-ups. So build it up over a period of time. Number 4, run a weekly subtraction audit. What are the habits, and you got to be totally honest with yourself, that do not serve your new identity, do not serve who you want to be as it relates to the 5 F's, and will not serve and will make your time and your ally instead of your enemy. And you have to be really clear on these bad habits, and then you have to write down, what are you going to do to replace it? Because we're creatures of habit. The only way to replace a bad habit, as I keep saying, is to replace it with a good habit. And then lastly, have a habit tracker or a journal, and check off, like, if you've done great habits and you stayed consistent, stack up wins, build up your belief, build up your new identity, build up the momentum inside you. Once you have this momentum, it will help you, because I often say we overestimate what we can do in the short term, we underestimate what we can do in the long term. So if you lift weights and you train 4 or 5 days a week, and you're doing the right things on a consistent basis, and you're eating healthy 85-90% of the time, over 3 years, you're going to make a substantial change in your life. Just like if you're putting out content. So get focused and track those habits. And that way, if you do those 5 steps, it'll help change your life, because we're creatures of habit and we only got one life. So stop waiting for tomorrow or several tomorrows. Take the action tomorrow and replace those bad habits with the good habits. Well, that's all for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you got something out of it, and that way you can go and implement it. Remember, I always say, don't just hear the words, live them. You only live life once, so what are you waiting for? The world is yours to conquer. Definitely running with the soldiers on this one.